Hey everyone, I'm Jason, and this is your commentary on Leviticus chapter 10. This is one chapter that I really don't want to do. It is difficult. On Chapter a Day, we've covered a lot of different controversial topics. There's a number of topics that we cover because the Bible talks about it. The Bible is real and the Bible is raw. Some of these topics are harder to cover than other ones. But I'm going to give it my best, and hopefully we'll get through this. In Leviticus chapter 10, it talks about the Lord killing Nadab and Abihu, two of the four sons of the high priest Aaron. It's broken down into 5 sections. The first part talks about the death of Nadab and Abihu. The second part talks about the Israelites as a people mourning, but Aaron and his 2 other sons are not allowed to. The third part talks about the command for the priests to abstain from taking wine. The fourth one talks about Eleazar and Ithamar, the 2 other sons of Aaron, and the sacrifices that they perform. And lastly, we see Aaron's plea for his remaining 2 sons. Nadab and Abihu were 2 of Aaron's sons. They got their shallow cups for burning incense. They put fire in them. They added incense to it. They made an offering to the Lord by using fire that wasn't allowed. They did it against his command. So the Lord sent fire on them. It burned them up. They died in front of the Lord. Then Moses spoke to Aaron. He said, "That's what the Lord was talking about when he said, 'Among those who approach me, I will show that I am holy. In the sight of all the people, I will be honored.'" So Aaron remained silent. The fire that they were supposed to use is supposed to come from the bronze altar. The bronze altar represented Calvary. And so there's only one sacrifice that's pleasing to God. And that's God's sacrifice. That's the sacrifice being done the way that he wanted it to be done. We can't offer another type of sacrifice and expect for God to be pleased. So Nadab and Abihu were offering a sacrifice using the wrong type of fire. Most likely not one from the bronze altar, but just one that they lit using some other means. Moses sent for Mishael and Elzaphan. They were sons of Aaron's uncle Uzziel. Moses said to them, "Come here, carry the bodies of your cousins outside the camp. Take them away from in front of the holy room." So they came and carried them outside the camp. It was just as Moses had ordered. The bodies of Nadab and Abihu still had their inner robes on them. Moses spoke to Aaron and to Eleazar and Ithamar. They were Aaron's sons. Moses said, "Don't let your hair hang loose. Don't tear your clothes. If you do, you will die, and the Lord will be angry with the whole community. But all the Israelites are allowed to show they are sad. They are your relatives. They may mourn for those the Lord has destroyed with fire. Don't leave the entrance to the tent of meeting. If you do, you will die. That's because the Lord's anointing oil has made you holy." So they did what Moses told them to do. We're allowed to mourn for loss, but at the same time, we should not be condoning sinfulness. The priests were supposed to uphold what is holy and what is right, but God still allowed for the Israelites to mourn. Then the Lord spoke to Aaron. He said, "You and your sons will go into the tent of meeting. When you do, you must not drink any kind of wine. If you do, you will die. This is a law that will last for all time to come. This is so that you can tell the difference between what is holy and what is not. You must be able to tell the difference between what is clean and what is not. Then you will be able to teach the Israelites all the rules I have given through Moses." Priests are supposed to be able to discern what is holy and what is right. It's quite possible that Nadab and Abihu were drunk when they were trying to offer sacrifices to God, and that's what made them make the bad decision of using fire from outside of the bronze altar. It's probably why God's giving the commandment now for all time for the priests to abstain from wine. This doesn't apply to all the Israelites. but specifically to those who are in a leadership role, not to get drunk, but to be clear-minded, especially when we're doing things that will impact other people. Moses spoke to Aaron and to Eleazar and Ithamar. They were Aaron's 2 remaining sons. Moses said, "Take the grain offering left over from the food offerings presented to the Lord. It is very holy. Make bread without yeast from it. Eat it beside the altar. Eat it in the holy area. It's your share and your son's share of the food offerings presented to the Lord. These rules are in keeping with the command the Lord gave me. But you and your sons and your daughters can eat the breast that was waved. You can also eat the thigh that was offered. Eat them in a clean place. They have been given to you and your children. They are your share of the friendship offerings the Israelites bring. The thigh that was offered must be brought together with the fat parts of the food offerings. The breast that was waved must be brought in the same way. All of it must be lifted up and waved in front of the Lord as a wave offering. It will be the share for you and your children for all time to come. That's what the Lord has commanded." Moses asked about the goat that was brought as the sin offering. He found out that it had been burned up, so he became angry with Eleazar and Ithamar. They were Aaron's 2 remaining sons. Moses asked them, "Why didn't you eat the sin offering in a place near the holy room? The offering is very holy. It was given to you to take the people's guilt away. It paid for their sin in the sight of the Lord. The blood of the offering wasn't taken into the holy room, so you should have eaten the goat in a place near the holy room. That's what I commanded." Here's an easy way to tell the difference between the different types of offerings and what the priests were supposed to do with it. If the blood from the offering was to be taken into the holy room, the holy place, then the rest of the animal was to be burnt up. If the blood of the offering was not to be taken into the holy place, then the rest of the animal was to be eaten. In the situation with the sin offering, the blood was not taken into the holy place, and so the expectation was for Eleazar and Ithamar to eat the rest of the animal. Aaron replied to Moses, "Today the people sacrifice their sin offering to the Lord. They also sacrifice their burnt offerings to him. But a terrible thing has happened to me. 2 of my sons have died. Would the Lord have been pleased if I had eaten the sin offering today?" When Moses heard that, he was satisfied. As the high priest, Aaron had to perform the sacrifices. There was no way around it. Somebody had to do it. But he was in mourning. And so Aaron was asking, is it right for me to partake of the sacrifice if my heart's not in the right place, even if I have to perform the sacrifice? And Moses is actually satisfied with this answer. We see later on that Moses writes in Deuteronomy 26:14, "I haven't eaten any part of your sacred share while I mourned over someone who had died." What he's saying here is that we're supposed to be joyous when we're receiving the sacrifice, when we're partaking in it. We actually see a command in the New Testament as well, that if your heart is not in the right place, then you should leave your gift at the altar. In other words, don't partake in the communion, and go and make sure your heart is right first. Although God's command was to eat the meat of the sacrifice in this situation, Aaron and his sons were following God's heart, not the exact command. At the beginning of this video, I said that this was not going to be an easy one to get through. And here's why. Sometimes the ones that we love, they make decisions that would hurt them or worse. We can't always protect them. We can't always be there for them. And it is appropriate for us to mourn the loss of someone who's close to us. Jesus tells us that the cost of following him is to put him above everything and everyone. If you've watched any of my videos for any length of time, you probably know that I'm a dad of 9 kids. I love all of my kids. If something were to happen to any one of them, I would grieve, I would mourn. But I cannot mourn to the extent that I am neglecting my other children. In the same way, Aaron as a high priest is responsible for all of the Israelites. His mourning for his 2 sons, Nadab and Abihu, could not pull him away from the people who still needed him, the people who were still there, the rest of the Israelites. If we have a ministry, yes, we need to mourn, absolutely, but we can't abandon the ministry. We're still called to be here for the other people who are still here. I've seen marriages that were broken up because of the death of one of their children. I've seen families that were hurt by the death of someone close to them, and it ended up splitting the families. Hopefully, nobody who watches any of my videos has ever lost someone who's close to them. If you have, my heart is broken for you. But please, if you have lost someone, either physically or spiritually, and they're separated from you, do not neglect those who are still here, the people who still need you. Because if you do, you may inadvertently lose them as well. That is it for our commentary on Leviticus chapter 10. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.